Hello, welcome to the program Political Viewpoint on Aso Television. My name is Topsy Gimba, your host. Political Viewpoint is a program that comes to you 3 times in a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at about this time, where we look into national issues and discuss them. The program provides me that opportunity to invite personalities to be with me and discuss any issue relevant to what we are discussing on that particular edition. Today, I see this opportunity to be very special in the sense that we are looking at very, very germane matter across the globe, talking about environment. We all know that United Nations set aside 5th of June every year to celebrate World Environment Day. And of course, Nigeria partakes in it. And of course, what are we doing as Nigerians to ensure that the environment is protected? It is on that note that we decided to invite those who are more concerned about issues related to environment to appear with us on this program this evening to tell us more what they're really doing and how best we can save the environment for humanity to strive. Without taking much of your time, let me invite my guests for you to unveil him for those who are watching right now. And no other person than Engineer Simeon Udo. He is the Executive Director, H Green Campaign Initiative. It's a pleasure having you on the program Political Viewpoint, Engineer Simeon Udo.
Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here.
Yes, I've been trying to have the opportunity to speak with you just like the way we are about doing right now, because I notice you have passion to ensure that humanity gets the best out of where it lives. And I understand that you've been really talking about environment for a very long time. To an extent, the celebration that comes up tomorrow, you have equally made arrangements to ensure that you create awareness on that level. Can you tell us why you have decided to give more of your time on environment issues?
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, Nigerians, Abuja, for the opportunity to be here and to speak on a very important issue as regards to we human beings. All right, we discovered that the challenge, environmental challenge, is quite enormous. Is something that affects every human being on the earth, and we have seen the ripple effect all over the place. When we talk about climate change, we'll talk about some of the health challenges. We'll talk about society issues as it regards to even floods. And then, so when we look at it, it's become a global concern that environment, we must create enough awareness to conscientize the members of the public and why they should become a stakeholder and own their environment. And then for us, we know that Mother Earth is a gift, and then it is our responsibility, okay, individual and collective responsibility, to preserve the Mother Earth so that we can enjoy it. Unfortunately, most people have not paid close attention on that. So for us, as H Green Campaign Initiative, we've taken it as a sole responsibility. Of course, we appreciate what other stakeholders are doing, the roles they have played, government and private sectors, international organizations. But then we also think that we have a lot to do. So we decided to come together and then, of course, air our voice so that at the end of the day, we can create a very healthy, greener, eco-friendly environment and society.
Wow. When one talks about environment, we need to really define what environment is. Is it only human beings that occupy this ecosystem, or there are others who coexist with us?
Absolutely, it's not only human beings. Of course, we have animals, we have plants, we have a lot of other elements that occupy environment. But of course, we know that humans are the major player here, and then we are the one that have the responsibility, because we take care of animals, we take care of plants, we take care of every other element that we find in our environment. So, of course, we have other things that are part of the environment.
Okay. To what extent can we say we have done a lot of injuries to the environment that we live within?
Okay. Unfortunately, we have done a lot of injuries to environment, because we have contributed to the level of degradation we have in our environment. Particularly, when you move around, you see our waterways being closed, choked. And sometimes if you look at most of the flood issues we have in our society, in our country, recently you heard what happened to, in Niger State, Castina, and then all over the place. You realize that Most of this, majority of this problem are man-made. For instance, you move around, you see people throwing their waste, okay, along the waterways. And most time when these waste are dumped, including plastic, which we are talking about now today. Now, when these waste are dumped, okay, most of them are generated by household, and when they move to the waterways, somehow they find themselves into the water body, like oceans. And then eventually we understand that most of this waste, something like plastic, most of them last from 100 to 1,000 years. And then eventually they are breaking down into microplastic. And somehow some of this microplastic find their way back to our body. All right, so we can say that human beings have contributed largely to this problem of waste. And then that is why we human beings are still going to face and solve this problem, because most of them were created. Today you talk about climate change. You see what is happening on the weather condition. You see most time, like this is June, and in major part of the country, we are still struggling to have rain. All right, sometimes you look at the weather, how hot the weather is. Most of these things are created because if you look at the level of gas emission, okay, that have actually gone up to contaminate our atmosphere, and then most of these things will head them back to us. So majority of this problem are created by we human beings. That's why we have to solve it.
Wow. Now look at Nigeria. Let's cascade this our discussion in the time being to Nigeria as a country. Are there things that you see that we should really do to ensure that we reduce the way we handle the environment in this country particularly? Like any other, of course, the world is celebrating World Environment Day. Yes. So it's my own opinion that indeed every country suffers in one way or the other. Certainly. But cascade it to Nigeria, what are those things we're supposed to do to ensure that we stay healthy? Okay, essentially, like I said, first of all, we need to own our environment. Yes. We need to see it as a personal responsibility. For instance, today, we're in some schools in Abuja here to sensitize the children, okay, conscientize them, create that awareness so that they can start thinking on how to preserve their environment. So first of all, we need to look at awareness. People need to know that there are implications, okay, of the things we do. They need to know that when you pick a plastic and then use it and throw it on the gutter, leave it on the road, you know, later it has implication. So from the side of education, sensitization, awareness, that is one of the things we need to do. Yeah. That's number one. We need to look at policy change. Okay, for instance, recently, if you followed on news recently, like last week, Lagos State government they came up with a policy that stops single-use plastic. All right, and if you look at the other countries of the world, countries like Singapore that would pride themselves on neatness, would realize that they have actually made some policy adjustments, okay, that will allow the citizen to be able to align so that everybody can do what they need to do. And apart from making policy, we can as well look at what we call a community-based activities. Like part of what we do in Age Green campaign is that we pick a certain section of the society and we physically go with our team to go and move waste. We've done that in a couple of states, a couple of places in Abuja here. And so that becomes, you know, part of our own contribution. So in cascading it, we need to look at education, sensitization. In fact, we are all currently engaging Ministry of Education to see how they can allow us to penetrate to every schools, both public and government, so that we can apply the principle called catch them young, because part of our slogan is change begins with me. So I know most of the attitudinal behavior we find among the adults. We may not be able to change it, but at least let's focus on our children from primary school to secondary school to university so that they can get that level of awareness that this is the problem, implication, this is the problem, this is the solution. And together they can join the movement as an ambassador of society and environment so that we can actually provide solution to this problem. Okay, to what extent can you say population affects the environment we live in? In the case of Nigeria, where there is no birth control, you procreate at the number you want. You marry many wives, they procreate as many as they can, and when they become human beings as they are, they must use one thing or the other. And because we are living in a poor economy, the tendency of really controlling how we dispose those things, like the mention about plastic,
Yeah.
that becomes very, very peculiar and taxing for you to be successfully educating and successfully remove it completely, because the government is docile,
Yeah.
the human beings equally are uneducated, and so everybody uses the environment the way he or she feels. At the level at which you are and you are campaigning, what can you really do in terms of population and creating awareness among ourselves and ensure that government actually key in and solving the problem as quickly or gradually as should?
Okay, thank you very much. As an organization, okay, we of course we are not concerned with the population, but again, it even have an advantage. Let me shock you. You know that some countries like United States of America are more populated than Nigeria.
Yeah.
China is more populated than Nigeria. But if you go to these countries, you realize that they are neat, and people have taken position on the waste. And the good thing is that we should even look at it as an advantage. Okay, because now recently we are talking to some companies that are into, some European-based companies who are into what we call waste to energy. So the good is even good and advantage that as a country, because our population will generate more metric tons of waste. Okay, but again, we can look at how to take advantage, and that's why we start talking about what we call waste wealth. Okay, that waste as it stands today is a gold mine. It has a lot of opportunity to create more jobs for Nigeria. In fact, we as an organization, we are targeting to empower over 1 million Nigeria, okay, using waste. Because again, there's a principle of reuse, recycle, and then actually reduce. So which is something we push when it comes to waste. So our population is more of advantage to us than disadvantage.
Okay. You are talking about work, awareness work.
Yes.
And that will be tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yes. What do you intend to tell us?
Great. So
if I follow you to work, what do you
mean? Yeah, we are calling all Nigerians, particularly those who are in Abuja at the moment, to join us on awareness walk tomorrow. And then the essence of the awareness walk is again to send a signal and a statement to the people, and it's going to be quite interesting tomorrow because we're in partnership with the Ministry of Environment, and then of course other relevant stakeholders, and then we particularly young Nigerians are conveying together at Federal Secretariat, precisely by the side of the Eagle Square, opposite head of service, exactly at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then we have decided to make a statement that youth of Nigeria are rising to own our environment. Okay, and so it's quite interesting, and it's a movement we have started, and we believe that with the help of God and the support we are getting from your institution, your media, and then we believe that we can actually do more. Okay, and we've started it in Abuja, and then we're going to escalate it to every part of this country. So,
okay, this is the first edition, I guess.
This is the first edition. We are coming out this way.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, by the time you're able to create this awareness and people show interest, to what extent can you use that opportunity to fight plastics in Nigeria?
Okay, so
because plastic, it's gradually becoming almost a household menace.
Certainly.
Most of us, before we go back home, you must hold 1 or 2 things, like watermelon, whatever, to your family at home, and they are contained in a polythene bag.
Sure.
And by the time you get home, you remove the content, dispose the polythene bag carelessly, of course.
Sure.
And like you said, sometimes they live closer to 100 years plus.
Yes.
To what extent can that work tomorrow? Help us.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, the journey of 1,000
kilometers,
yes, starts
with a step.
So we have started, and then exactly what we are going to do tomorrow is, first of all, we are going to sensitize the people. We are going to speak out very, very loud, and it will be covered by quite a number of media houses. And then, so of course, again, part of the message we are sending tomorrow is that the government of Nigeria should start looking on banning what we call single-use plastic. Okay, like the rubber single use. So those ones like you use once and throw away, like something like straw, and or polythene bag. So we should look at things, plastic that we can use and reuse over and over. And I can, if time permit me, I can share with you different ways that this plastic can be used. It was quite interesting today. If you come to our office, you see a lot of artwork, okay, that are done with plastic. So we are looking at that as something you can use over and over, and we are looking at how to reduce some of this plastic, okay, and we are looking at how people should get into recycling, which is actually the third phase. Okay, so now our message tomorrow is very clear. We are speaking to the government, policymakers, and we are speaking to the members of the public through that awareness work tomorrow. And then particularly, we are letting people who are joining us to understand the reason why. Because like you talk about plastic pollution. Now you realize that Nigeria or globally, about 400 million tons of plastic are generated, okay, annually. And most of this plastic, like we said, find their way into our water bodies, all right, and then become a microplastic and so on, and cause several harms. So people should start through that our awareness work tomorrow. People are going to hear messages. Our team are available, and then in collaboration with Ministry of Environment, we are going to send a message very, very clear. Both people who are part of, because we're expecting about 200 to 300 persons tomorrow to be part of that work. So it's a huge message we are communicating, and it's going to come very clear. And we believe that government are going to hear our voice.
If we start the work at Federal Secretary, where do you terminate?
Okay, we're actually going to terminate at Millennium Park.
Millennium Park.
Yes.
That's around
opposite around.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you are ending it.
Yes.
Okay. Are there laws to safeguard ourselves in the use of the environment? And if there is no, or if there are no laws, are you thinking of sending either a bill to the National Assembly so that let them formulate a kind of a framework, a legal framework that will not back misuse of environment, particularly how we dispose some of those things that are harmful to the society?
Yeah, you talk about law. There are quite a lot of law, including a lot of bylaws that are available at local government level, at the state level, at the national level. But you see, our interest is even on implementation of the available ones, enforcement. Okay, and then that is where we want to begin with existing laws that have given us provisions, okay, to carry such an activities. Now, and as we go on, we begin to look at areas where there's an improvement. For instance, currently we are collaborating gradually with different relevant stakeholders. We are engaging Senate currently, particularly for a program we are planning in August. And we want to carry them along. First of all, we want to send our message to them. They need to accept us fully, and then we can now start, bringing further suggestions. So our focus now is to work with available laws, okay, and get it right. Then we can now look for room for improvement. Okay.
By the time you end this work tomorrow, and it's equally ending because tomorrow happens to be World Environment Day, exactly, do you have programs to carry out through the year 365 days?
Yes, our program runs on daily basis. Like I said, today, for yesterday and today, we're in different schools, okay, to talk to the children. And there are a couple of things we have already discussed with the school management we are doing. We do what we call community service. Community service is what to do every month, okay, particularly the last Saturday of every month. And we have our coordinators represented in different states. And then, our coordinators will come out with our members, and they move around to literally pick waste, what we call community service. That's part of what we do. And aside that, we are going to different schools. Aside that, we've collaborated with traditional rulers, and we go to market once in a while and sensitize the members of the public. And we use that. We use religion leaders, we use traditional leaders, and then we use members of leaders in government and different ministries. So these are the things we do on daily basis. And we are very strong on social media. We send a lot of information, keep sensitizing people. Okay, we run podcasts, we do a couple of things. And one of them is what we've come to do here today. Today is not going to be the last time. We are going to keep coming here, talking to Nigerians, so that they will come to a point where everybody is aware, okay, on the danger of the waste or environmental hazard, and join hands together so that we can create a solution and create an enabling society where everybody will be happy and healthy and enjoy.
Okay. I'm seeking your opinion now, yes, as an executive director, H Green Campaign Initiative. What can you say with the floods we have experienced, or even experienced, and probably to experience more?
Yeah.
At what extent can you say these plastics that we dispose carelessly might have contributed. Like for instance, during the month of August, you will now see nearly every place is overflooded in Abuja. Is it because the buildings or the use of those things that we carelessly throw away without being mindful of what we are doing to ourselves, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, like I said, people must understand, the place of their rules they need to play. Because most of these floods we experience are man-made. Okay, most time you look at the way buildings are constructed, and sometimes we build and obstruct the waterways. And some of these things, of course, there are laws that actually look at, but most people they live as if there's no law. So we look at our action as a people. Okay, things we need to do, and then we talk about the plastic, talk about the waste, the number of waste that are generated and how these wastes are littered all over the places, and then interestingly, these things are caused by us. That's why I said that we have to solve the problem. And so when you talk about flood is a big issue, and I can tell you that during our program in August, we are going to bring the experts from different parts of the world, and including members of the public and government to come and speak, so that we want to create a solution to flood problem in Nigeria. Yeah. And then it's going to be like a long-term project we are getting into. There's quite a lot of things we are looking at doing. Time will not permit me to actually start talking about flood because it's a huge problem. Okay. But like I said, there are little things that we have to start doing, like even something as small as keeping our environment clean. Stop dumping refuse, okay, on the waterways, on the roads, okay. So and then we start looking at most of these things from the little side, from small things that that we can easily do without any much effort. So that way we can gradually start tackling the problem. It's big, but again you have to start from somewhere. And as we do it gradually with time, you realize that you look back, the problem is solved. So that is exactly what one of the ways we can actually solve it.
Oh, that's very interesting. What can you do to get more support?
Okay, for us.
That's in a way I'm asking you about your challenges.
Yes. Again, as a non-governmental organization, we are seeking collaborations. Okay, collaboration at different levels. We are seeking for volunteers. Okay, some of them are environmentalists. Okay, some of them can come with ideas. And then we are seeking for collaboration with the medias. We are seeking for collaboration with the government. We are seeking collaboration with some donors, international and local donors. We are seeking collaboration of investors, different level. We are open for that. We are open for every level of collaboration, support, so that we can together. We are not so particular about money. There are different things you can do. For instance, we have people who are working with us, and they are working as volunteers, and we really appreciate what they do. So we just believe that somehow, you can make an input. The little contribution you can make, even as what we have, opportunity we have right now, it's a big support for us, and we really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted, because giving us opportunity to air our voice and speak to the to Nigeria society at large. So it's a big for us, and we are calling everybody to really join hand with us. Come, let's discuss. These are the area you want to come in. This is what you can do, and we can look at it. For instance, there is a young lady who have learned the art of using waste, okay, to create some quite interesting materials. Wow. And so she came to office and met us, and we discussed. Right now we're partner, and we are even telling her, look, this case you've developed, we want you to teach it to children so that they can make money from the waste. So we are open for support, collaboration at all levels. Okay.
Well, where's your office located in Abuja here?
Okay, so our office is located at number 10 Amwa Avenue by Naf Valley Estate, okay, by Abacha Barracks.
Okay.
Yes.
That's where you are?
Yes, that's where we are, by second gate.
Okay. Okay. You really amazed me, and you put me off guard when you said we can convert this waste to wealth.
100%.
You that you know, are there plans, you particularly, are there plans?
Okay, you talk about waste to
wealth.
Yes.
That these plastics that we throw away can become money.
Yes, a lot of them, and it's already, most of our members are already enjoying it. We've created employment for a lot of them. Some of them, I mean, you are very familiar, should be very familiar with this group of guys we call these Mebolas.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Very well indeed.
You see, those guys are making a lot of money, but people don't know. You look at them; they are very dirty.
You mean it?
Yes, they are making a whole lot of money, and that's why you see them when they start the business, they never stop it. And you know, they move around, pick
items.
Yes, items, and they go to sell them.
That are usable.
Exactly, and they sell them because the excess is for most of those items are recyclable.
Okay.
You know, you can actually recycle them.
Yes.
So that is one way to turn waste into wealth. Now let me shock you. There is barely no waste that cannot be converted to wealth. Even the what do you call the organic waste, okay, the consumable waste, okay, you can actually convert them. There's a lot of things that technologies that we have done research and we've actually come up with them that are proof that no waste is actually waste.
Can you imagine?
Yes, all of them, 100%. And these are part of the things we are doing in our sensitization, in our education, and we are bringing experts from different parts of the world, okay, to actually continue to research and then educate people on how we can. So if we focus on waste as a nation, you'll be shocked how much money a state government will be generated from the waste.
Can you imagine? So are you in touch with this Abuja Environmental Protection Board? Because if you move around in a major city like Abuja and any other major city in Nigeria, yes, you will see so many of these heaps of waste.
Absolutely.
And then again, they become a threat to life, and then they occupy space.
Yeah,
So and like you said, no waste is waste. Yeah. If it is like that, can't we have some kind of people raising to make money out of it, so that we clear it in a way as if we are clearing it unknowingly, yeah, and it helps the society to grow.
Yeah, we are going there. We started somewhere, and we are going there. We are in touch with a couple of them, and yeah, we are engaging a couple of them, and we are hoping that collaboration will be so strong, because there are certain things we cannot do as a private organization, yeah, without government support. And that's why we are using this platform again to ask them to come up. Let's sit down, have a roundtable discussion, invite us, let's have a roundtable discussion and see how we can create a solution to this big problem of waste.
Okay. We're gradually coming to the end of the program, and I believe you may have one or two things to say as a way of rounding off.
Yes, one of the things I would say as a way of rounding up is that, look, tomorrow's event is big, and we want everybody to join hands. Join us in our social media handles. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on
how can it be found? Instagram. Do you have any name to
yes, just AGC. Okay. Some of them are AGC Initiative.
One word.
Yes, AGC Initiative. Okay, and if you just type Age Green Campaign Initiative, you will find all our social media handle. And again, you can visit our website. Okay, www.agcinitiative.org. Okay. All right. So and then you can, like I said, you can find time to visit us in our office, and then when you go to our website, you get every information about us.
Okay. I see you with a couple of your staff.
Yeah.
Call their names. Okay. That's the glory they have coming here.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Shay Comfort, who is in our media department. We have Edison, who is in charge of our media team. We have Owen Elizabeth, who is head of our advocacy. And then we also have Adolphus, who is also the head of program.
Wow, that's very interesting. We'll see you there tomorrow.
Sure, certainly.
Let me feel you.
Thank you so much.
You're massive.
It's my honor, sir.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, that's about the side of the program, Political Viewpoint on Aso Television. I had in the studio Engineer Simon Odo, Executive Director, Age Green Campaign Initiative. You watched, you listened to his explanation. Tomorrow is World Environment Day, where globally the world celebrates that particular day set aside June, August. The theme for this year is about fighting plastic pollution. Yeah, and Nigeria suffers greatly as a result of that. And so this particular agency takes it by the horns to create awareness for Nigerians to know how to use and dispose some of those things we don't need. Well, I really appreciate you for watching us. News will be coming your way at 7. My name is Topsy Gimba. Do have a very lovely day. We're out of the studio and see you again.